Happiness is never really so welcome as changelessness. There is always one moment in childhood when the door opens and lets the future in. Human nature is not black and white, but black and gray. It is impossible to go through life without trust, that is to be imprisoned in the worst cell of all, oneself. Innocence is a kind of insanity. For me, a story is an experience in its entirety. Point me out the happy man, and I will point you out either egotism, selfishness, evil, or else an absolute ignorance. A writer is a man who, allowing his imagination to rove, writes down his ideas wherever he finds them. Success is more dangerous than failure. The ripples break over a wider coastline. The truth has never been of any real value to any human being. It is a symbol for mathematicians and philosophers to pursue. Despair is the price one pays for self-awareness. Look deeply into life and you'll always find despair. Writing is a form of therapy. Sometimes I wonder how all those who do not write, compose, or paint can manage to escape the madness, the melancholia, the panic and fear which is inherent in the human situation. In the end, there is no desire so deep as the simple desire for companionship. Our worst enemies here are not the ignorant and the simple, however cruel. Our worst enemies are the intelligent and corrupt. The biggest success of all is the person who lets go of fear. We are all of us resigned to death. It's life we aren't resigned to. Sometimes I see myself reflected too closely in other men for comfort, and then I have an enormous need to believe in the saints, in heroic virtue. Love had to be reinvented, and it's not every human being who has the strength for that. The world was made for mistakes. You can't conceive, my child, nor can I or anyone, the appalling strangeness of the mercy of God. When we are not sure we are alive. A great novelist is the observer, never the participant. One can't love humanity, one can only love people. The economy of a novelist is a little like that of a careful housewife who is unwilling to throw away anything that might perhaps serve its turn. One of the greatest ironies of life is how those who don't believe in redemption need it the most. The moment comes when a character does or says something you hadn't thought about. At that moment he's alive and you leave it to him. Hate is a lack of imagination. Nothing in life is as good as the anticipation of it. Human beings are not designed to be strong, only determined. Power is not something that can be assumed or discarded at will like underwear. The heart is always the last stronghold of resistance. The world has always been good at providing reasons to hate. To be in love is to see yourself in another's eyes. A story has no beginning or end. Arbitrarily, one chooses that moment of experience from which to look back or from which to look ahead. The best things are not always in reach, but are in hope. If you have abandoned one faith, do not abandon all faith. There is always an alternative to the faith we lose. It is better to be in a desert than to be surrounded by the wolves of your own fears. Dreams are a reality that hasn't been proven yet. The hardest task of all for a writer is to capture the human heart with sincerity. Love is an eternal act of forgiveness. Faith can do more than move mountains. It can conquer despair. Life may not be what you wanted, but it's all we have. A line of a novel, like a single breath, can contain an entire universe. Kindness has the power to mend what cruelty has broken. In the silence of writing, we often find our loudest truths. The essence of freedom lies in the capacity to dream. Loneliness teaches us the beauty of connection. In every loss, there is the seed of hope. To live is to search for meaning, even in the smallest things. The scars of our past make the present more precious.